All right, we are here with my great friend who I'm gutted today to see you end up going out. Of course, the great Jenna Lewis, and I have to ring the bell for you. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. We've had months to process this. I did get to face my biggest fear out there. I would say my biggest fear is going out first. So, third survivor, I got to face the one big fear and get it over with. But it felt like when I landed, I was very nervous, which I haven't in the other two seasons that I played. I felt very comfortable and like getting to know people, and everyone felt open, and it felt good. And the second I landed this time, it was like, oh, that's why I had felt like I had to play fast. It wasn't that, oh my God, all the new schoolers. It was like, first of all, that's always how I play. But second off, like it, everything felt wrong. Everything you're going to hear this, I think, from many people in other tribes. It was like there felt like there were already these groups and I wasn't invited.
Yeah.
I told somebody, I was like, it felt like I was late to the party and they were like, you weren't invited to the party.
So
That's how it felt.
you mentioned that this is how you always play. I was thinking back
Yeah.
to Survivor All Stars and where you came in, I think, with kind of a similar philosophy of that you said, okay, here's what we're doing. And even in a smaller group, it worked and was well received there. What do you feel like the difference was? Why weren't people on board to go big game hunting here?
First of all, I was not the first person to say Cirie's name. That is all manufactured. And I keep saying, I will get online, look Christian in the eyes, and he will have to tell you the story of how day one, we were all sitting around getting to know each other. And Christian and I were chatting, and I was like, so how do you feel, about the group of people here? I really like you. My son's into like robotics. My son's not into robotics, but I was sitting there like, hey, your blue eyes are so blue. Anyway, so he says, I think Cirie's the biggest threat. And I was like thinking for a second, I was like, okay, yeah. And then we talked about how she's a threat and a liability, like the
Hmm.
challenges. She will lose the challenges. But he had gone over what he said was, I'll tell you who, and this is where you can look him in the eye. This is almost verbatim. He goes, I will go sit by the person that I think is the biggest threat. And he goes over and he sits next to Cirie, talks to her for like 5 minutes. I go over and talk to Rick Devins about Fortnite because I love Fortnite and he loves Fortnite. He's like, what skin do you use? I'm like, shush, I'm going to go talk to Christian. And then Christian and I come back and he's like, biggest threat. And his words, again, I'll depose Christian on this. He said, if she makes the merge, so many people on that side for her, you will never get her again. She's lost to the wind, I think were his exact words. So
Yeah.
he is the one that started the whole thing. But this is what I loved about last night that I did not know. This is what I do like about Survivor. Voted off or not, I don't know what all the conversations were that I wasn't involved in. Um, so Christian having that whole, I am Dr. Spock, you're Captain Kirk. I do all the thinking, you do all the working. And then what's the next scene? Devins goes to the water well and tells Cirie, I said her name. I didn't. That
Hmm.
that was a that was chess master Christian over there. Christian absolutely said her name first. And then I thought, okay, Christian's like, he was trying to be leader. You heard him with his Vince Lombardi speech. Like he wanted to be kind of a leader. And I was like, fine, that's great. So I was on board and I was like, yeah, look at, she just really tanked that challenge. And I was trying to mobilize Savannah and Joe. So for two new school players, they just, I don't know. I think we all felt kind of out of the sorts because we felt like there were three and then two. But I was trying to tell them, like, you do not want duos in this game. Joe, you just got screwed over by a duo. All stars, everyone would be like, Jenna, don't make the same mistake. Like, duos never end well for the people around them. Like, break those suckers up and open the game up. And those were the obvious duos. And when Christian and all them seemed on board, I was like, Joe, Savannah, we got to do this. So then to see them sitting on the log last night with the others and saying, like, I don't want to vote for Jenna. And then they were like, maybe Ozzy. And they were like, okay, so it's going to be Jenna, Ozzy, or Cirie. They really didn't know. new school players, they were behind the ball too. But I think all three of us just felt we didn't have the connections that the people there already had.
I love the scene where you were talking to Ozzy, and you could tell in the back and forth that Ozzy wasn't picking up when you were what you were putting down. Was that when you first got the inkling that this wasn't going to go well?
Yes. Yep. You know so well, Rob. I think you know me so well. Like, you know my facial expressions, but you kind of know that. Yeah, sure. It was like a blank. I'm looking at him going like, you don't actually think I'm buying this, right? And I
Yeah.
was like, I don't trust you. Um, but I really had been talking to Christian and them about Cirie, and then, Savannah had said maybe Ozzy, and I was like, look, I'm up for either. But I knew that those two were together hardcore. I knew it. You know when I knew it? Ozzy had come back from Exile Island or whatever, and we made the fire. And when we got the fire and we put it in, we're all like celebrating. He goes, "Where's Cirie? I gotta show Cirie." And I was like, "That's what a child does to their mommy. Like, obviously, they're like this." And so then I started like to tell Kristen, "You're absolutely right. Not just a threat, liability, but these two, you got to break it up." And it shows me talking about Savannah as they're making like the montage of like, she's playing hard and fast, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling Savannah, these two are together and you can't have duos. You have to break them up. And I really did feel like Christian was on board with that. He was the one who opened the whole Cirie basket. I did not. I thought I was helping him.
So where do you feel like that it just ended up going sideways? Was it because that once it got back to Cirie, then she started saying your name?
No, 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 because that's why like Ozzy's name was right there at the end. They were legitimately, you saw Emily, they were legitimately considering
Yeah.
Ozzy too. So it wasn't like they were all in collusion over there either. But I think what happened is, and I think this will prove me right. And again, I'm not out there. Christian's that mastermind, and he's a chess master. I think he's puppeting Cirie. He went and sent Devins to go tell Cirie so that he could make sure Cirie, Ozzy, and I would not get together. So he plants it in Cirie's mind, and he's already told me. So he thinks, okay, I'm getting her to go around and tell people Cirie, Cirie, Cirie. Then he plants to Cirie. So it was very easy to get us to kind of like not fight, but like, yeah, I'll vote for that person. We both had been told something different. I thought I was helping Christian, but I really did feel like it when I felt like it went south was when I talked to Ozzy, but I really felt like I would get two votes. I did not think that they had all come together on one. Like I thought I would get two for sure, but not that. I didn't think that they had gotten anything together.
How bad was the challenge?
I know you know this. I know you know this, and I know you know that it was not shown like it was on TV. When they showed on TV, you see Kyle's accident, which, oh God, that was really awful. That was
Yeah.
hard to be there and watch. You never want to see that, and especially Kyle. He's just like a great guy. But that was hard. But after Kyle's incident, it looked like on the TV show that it was like 2 minutes. Like, oh yeah, fourth try, she got it. No, no, no. Ask anyone. If it was 50, if it was 15 minutes, or maybe 20 of her alone trying to throw that monkey ball. And
Yeah.
here's the kicker. When we decided who was doing what, Savannah goes, I just did this challenge like 2 weeks ago. I just did it. I know I can do it. And Cirie's going, I practiced in my backyard. I kid you not.
Yeah.
I practiced in my backyard. This is mine. I can do this. And it was 20 minutes. We were so far behind. So really, I'm like, how are they going to win a challenge? They all have very physical elements at the beginning. You kind of get some other elements as you move further in the game, but there are always brutal physical challenges in the beginning, and I think that's going to be their detriment.
I thought that the show did a really nice job of giving you your flowers to come back. And I thought, especially in the opening, they really did do a lot to celebrate you coming back. What were the emotions like for you to return to this thing for from where you started in season one to come back for season 50?
Like I get emotional just like you saying flowers. That's what it felt like. I felt like they gave me a little bit of a love letter.
Yeah.
And I think they know that it's been such a huge part of my life, but it's also helped give me my life. Like I was a 22-year-old single mother,
Hmm.
working two jobs in New Hampshire. And then I got this gift of this show, but also everything after and the confidence. I gained my entire life from Survivor. I would probably be living four houses down from my parents with like 20 other kids. But I feel like Survivor really gave that to me. And I think they knew that. So I think they knew when I went off, they really gave me a love letter. And I can't thank them enough. Like they could have, you always say dumb things. They could have made me look ridiculous.
Hmm.
I was very, very grateful for that.
I said this about you last night that, this is totally sucks to be the first person voted out, but I felt like that if there was anybody in this cast that could handle this, I just felt like that after everything that you've been through, that this is not pleasant, but
Yeah.
this for you is like, nothing.
100%. I said that, when the next person comes walking down, I was like, but I hug them and I get them food and I did this as Ponderosa Queen for each person that comes off. And like I was like, my life is so beautiful that I'm gonna go back to. I think I wrote down when I got home, like I've basked in the sunshine of Survivor and I've walked in her shadows. And I realize that both are so fleeting.
Yeah.
Like you always come back to your life. And I felt like, God, that sucks. It was my biggest fear, getting voted off first. So I did it, faced my biggest fear, but I was the one to take it. I can take it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that it's any easier on me because I was so excited to get to watch you play and hear your commentary all season long. Anything else you could tell us about your time there that we didn't get to see?
I think just you kind of got it in the edit, but I was kind of trying to do Christian's work, but how many times I talked about the duo and it seemed everybody agreed. Um, I think they nailed it. I think they really got I think we were all very excited about the fire too. I think they kind of glossed over that nobody has made fire in like 15 years or something like
Yeah.
that, at least 20 seasons. Like now you heard Dee, she was like, the dirt's fine. And I'm thinking, that's
Yeah.
the difference between old school and new school. Like the dirt's not fine. Like build a shelter. And they're like, it's 26 days. I'm like,
Well, yeah, we
but
don't
you're
need it.
here.
Yeah.
Like you're here for 26 days. We did this. It was a lot of work on Survivor in the
Hmm.
old school. You did work. They were like, blah, blase,
Yeah.
which is funny.
I was so disappointed I didn't get to New York because of the snow to go and see you all. Any fun stories from your time back together, reunited with the cast?
No real fun stories, just really getting to obviously that I didn't get to meet,
Hmm.
half the cast. So I only have the people that come to Ponderosa to see me, but I didn't get to even meet half of the cast. So this was really the very first time I had met people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope that at some point down the road that we'll be able to talk more about all this and everything else. But I miss getting to talk to you,
Me
and
too.
please keep in touch. I hope the cake was delicious.
It was.
Yes.
I ate three pieces. Like each night I ate like a full piece of cake. Mhm.
Yeah. No
It's
utensils.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're onto something. All right, Jenna, great to talk to you and all the best. Okay.
Thank you, Rob.
Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.